You get up from the couch to grab a glass of water. Your dog gets up right with you. You walk into the kitchen. They walk into the kitchen. You head into the bedroom. They head into the bedroom. You don't call them. You don't ask them to come. You don't even look back. But when you turn your head, they're already there. Most folks explain this in one of two ways. It's either love, my dog loves me and wants to be close, or it's anxiety, my dog just can't stand being alone. Both of those answers sound perfectly reasonable, and both of them completely miss the most important part, because that behavior doesn't just have one reason, it has 6. And every single one of them reveals something totally different about how your dog actually sees you. Researchers at the University of Vienna have documented that dogs use their owner as a secure base, not just as a simple companion, but as a biological reference point that their entire nervous system is organized around. When you move, that reference point moves, and their body follows. We're going to save that last reason for the very end. Because it isn't about affection, and it isn't about anxiety, it's about what your dog is doing with your every single step that you've never even noticed. And once you know it, you'll never walk around your house the same way again. This isn't a video about clingy dogs in general. This is about your dog, your house. And the 6 distinct biological systems firing up every single time they get up and follow you. If you've ever worried that your dog is too clingy, this video isn't here to judge that. It's here to show you what's really happening beneath the behavior you see every day. Let's kick things off with the reason most people never think of first. Your dog follows you everywhere in the house. The kitchen, the living room, the home office, and into the bathroom. Even if you shut the door, they sit outside and wait. If the door is cracked, they push their way in and hang out. A lot of folks think that's hilarious, or kind of annoying, but nobody really explains why they target that room in particular. In the pack behavior of mammals, the bathroom is a very specific kind of environment. It's where an individual is at their absolute most vulnerable, unable to move fast, unable to react to a threat, unable to fully scan the surroundings. A dog's nervous system reads that moment not as privacy, but as risk. And when a pack member is in a risky state, the rest of the pack moves in closer to protect them. Not because they were taught to, but because that's a reflex hardwired into their bodies from thousands of years ago. Researchers at Duke University, led by Brian Hare in 2002, documented that during their coevolution with humans, dogs developed the ability to read and react to human states with an accuracy that blows every other animal out of the water. Even chimps. Your dog isn't following you into the bathroom because they have zero boundaries. They're following you in there because thousands of years of instinct are telling them that's exactly when you need protection the most. You think they're invading your personal space. They think they're just doing their job. Now let's talk about something happening that you never even see. When you move through the house, you leave a trail. Not footprints, not sounds, but a scent, a constantly shifting odor gradient that your dog reads with a level of precision we can't even fathom. A dog's nose packs around 300 million olfactory receptors. We humans have 6 million. The part of their brain that processes smell is proportionally 40 times larger than ours. And as you move from room to room, you leave a crystal clear scent trail pointing out your location, the direction you're heading, and even your emotional state at that exact moment. Your dog doesn't just know where you are. They know where you just were, how long ago you were there, and exactly how you were feeling when you walked by. In 2014, researcher Gregory Burns at Emory University documented this. Using fMRI, the scent of the owner triggers the reward center in a dog's brain harder than any other smell, even stronger than the smell of food. To your dog, this house isn't just a collection of rooms. It's a living scent map, and you are the absolute brightest hotspot on that map. They aren't chasing you. They're just heading toward where the signal is the strongest. You are the brightest thing shining in your own home, and your dog has known that since day one. If this is changing the way you look at your dog, that's exactly what we're here to do. Hit subscribe. Once a week, we do this. Now let's talk about what happens inside your dog's body when you leave a room. You get up from your desk and walk into the kitchen. Your dog follows. You sit down on the couch. They lie down right beside you. You move, they move. It's almost like there's an invisible string connecting the movements of both sides. That's not a metaphor. That's biology. In 2020, researchers at Linköping University, Sweden, documented that dogs and owners living together long-term develop physiological synchronization. The heart rates, breathing, and cortisol levels of the two bodies start mirroring each other over time. And what does that actually mean in practice? When your dog is near you, their body uses your physiological signals as a regulator for their own nervous system. Your breathing, your heartbeat, your cortisol levels. All of those things become a reference point that their nervous system balances itself against. When you leave for another room, that reference source disappears. Their nervous system has to regulate itself without an anchor. Scientists call this co-regulation. It's the exact same mechanism that infants use when sleeping near their parents, not because they can't survive independently, but because closeness creates a physiological stability that isolation simply cannot replicate. When your dog follows you, part of it is because their body literally functions differently when you aren't in sight. Not worse, just less regulated, less peaceful. You aren't just your dog's companion. You are a fundamental part of how their body regulates itself every single day. Now think about this from the dog's perspective. They live in a house where everything that happens goes totally unexplained. Noises from outside, weird smells drifting through the window, footsteps on the stairs, the bags you bring home, a stranger knocking on the door. All those things happen, and your dog doesn't have the context to read any of it on their own. But you do. Brian Hare and his colleagues at Duke University documented that during coevolution with humans, dogs developed an extraordinary ability to read human social cues, eye contact, gestures, direction of movement, with a precision that far exceeds any other animal, including chimps. Not because they were trained to, but because that ability was selectively evolved over thousands of years of living side by side with humans. Your reaction to a sound tells them whether or not they should be worried. The direction you walk tells them if something important might be about to go down. Your body language is their weather report for the world. When you move to another room, your dog doesn't just lose your presence. They lose their primary news source for everything happening around them. Your dog doesn't follow you because they can't be alone. They follow you because you're the only person in that house who can actually explain the world to them. To your dog, you aren't just their favorite buddy, you're their interpreter. In the wild, a wolf never voluntarily strays from its pack. Not out of fear, but because physical cohesion, the entire group being in the same space, is the default condition for safety. It's not a choice, it's a survival structure. Dogs have been domesticated from wolves for about 15,000 years. A whole lot has changed during that process. But the pack consolidation instinct, the drive to maintain the physical cohesion of the group, remains completely intact. When you walk into another room and your dog follows, they aren't making a conscious decision. It's a bodily reflex, an automatic signal saying, the group is moving, so I'm moving too. Researchers at the University of Vienna have documented in attachment experiments that dogs show similar behavior to human infants when the primary caregiver leaves the room, not because of anxiety in every single case, but because maintaining close proximity to the attachment figure is the baseline state of their nervous system. That's their default setting, and stepping away from that position literally takes energy. To your dog, the pack is you. And a pack doesn't get split up into separate rooms. That instinct doesn't just fade away because the pack now lives in an apartment with zero outside threats. It's still running, every single day, every single time you stand up. And now, for the final reason, the one that most people never think about. Because it's not about affection. It's not about anxiety. It's not about anything emotional at all. It's about what your dog is doing with every single step you take. Pay attention to this. The way you get up from the couch differs depending on where you're about to go. When you go to grab water, you get up one way. When you're getting ready to head out, you get up a totally different way. When you're about to grab the leash, your shoulders tilt in a different direction than when you're just grabbing your phone. You don't realize the difference, but your dog does. And they have for a very long time. Dogs are phenomenal observers of movement. In dog cognition studies, They've been documented as having the ability to distinguish and memorize their owner's micro-movement patterns with mind-blowing accuracy. Not big body language, but the micro-signals, the tilt angle of your shoulder, the direction of your gaze, the speed of your step, the way you place your hand down right before you stand up. Nagasawa and his colleagues at Azabu University, Japan, in 2015, documented that a dog's brain processes human physical cues with a level of detail way beyond what we ever thought possible. They aren't just reading you. They've built a predictive model of you, a highly detailed map of how you move, what those movements usually lead to, and the probability of every single outcome. When your dog gets up and follows you, part of it is because they're constantly updating that map. Every time you move, that's new data. And that data could mean the leash, some food, playtime, or absolutely nothing at all. They don't know in advance, but they definitely want to know. And that data can only be gathered from up close. Every time your dog gets up and follows you, they're doing a bunch of things all at once. They're protecting you. They're regulating their nervous system. They're reading your scent map. They're maintaining pack cohesion. And they're gathering data on exactly what you're about to do next, all at the exact same time, every single time you stand up. That isn't anxiety. That isn't dependency. That's the result of 15,000 years of evolution, an animal that has built its entire life around understanding you. And every single time they follow you into another room, they're still doing exactly that. Most dog owners love their dogs unconditionally. That goes without saying. But loving and understanding aren't the same thing. And the gap between those two things, that's exactly what this channel exists to bridge. The next time your dog gets up and follows you into the kitchen, into the bedroom, into the bathroom, now you know what's going on. It's not one thing. It's 6 things, all at once. 6 distinct biological systems and instincts, all converging into one simple action that you've seen every single day, without knowing what it was really saying. Drop a comment down below, which room does your dog follow you into the most? I read every single comment. If this video changed the way you look at all the times your dog gets up and follows you, even just one thing, hit that subscribe button. Once a week. There are so many other things your dog is doing that you don't have the translation for yet. Next week, when your dog wags their tail, you read that as happiness. But the direction of the wag, left or right, says something completely different, and researchers in Italy have measured that very specifically. Other dogs see that signal and react differently. You don't see it. Next week, you will.